Hello, everyone. It's been a minute. It has been a minute for sure. I think it's been 3 weeks or so. As many of you know, I was down for the count. I was sick, and I am back. And I'm really looking forward to connecting with all of you tonight. Truly, I am. So, we're going to give it a few minutes and allow more people to join in on the fun, and then we will begin. I think this is going to be a very important video as it relates to 2022 because the theme to me is very apparent. The central theme for 2022 is very apparent, and we'll get into that in a couple minutes. It feels really good to be back. Thank you for everyone who supported me while I had the vid. And oh, thank you for saying that. That's very nice of you. Lots of changes. Lots of changes. Thank you, Angela Rush, for that donation. Okay, so I guess we'll give it maybe 2 more minutes, and then we will begin. I hope you guys are really well. I would say that I'm 90% recovered. I think the only thing I haven't experienced yet is my sassiness, my playfulness, my humor. That's what I haven't really experienced yet, is that surplus of energy that I typically have. But apart from that, I'm extremely grateful to be back on my feet. I'm extremely grateful to be doing this work. My love for this work only amplifies, and I am absolutely devoted to showing up in service to all of you, to showing up in service to all of you. So I'm really looking forward to connecting with you tonight. Someone is saying that I'm frozen. I don't know. Let me know if everything looks good. I mean, I definitely upgraded my internet last month, so I have top-notch speed now. Yes, my vibe will be a little bit low in this video just because it's only been a few days that I feel like myself again. It's only been about 2 days that I have brain juice, because prior to that, I had insomnia, post-COVID insomnia, and now I'm sleeping again, so which is good. Alrighty, so let us begin. 2022 is coming in hot. It is coming in very hot. It is coming in fast and furious. And the word I kept getting for 2022 is that it is ruthless and will continue to be ruthless in its endeavor to shake us up and wake us up. I want to talk about karma for a few moments. Karma to me is unfinished business. Karma to me is the stuff that we ignore. It's almost like this gunk that we accumulate over time. Sometimes karma can carry over from another lifetime. And it's this heaviness or this gunk or this dirt or this dust that we accumulate within our system. And karma drives a wedge between you and your higher self. In other words, karma slows down the speed of your vibration. So when you have karma and you have all these boulders or all these wedges in the way, or you can say the dam in the river, your energy flow isn't as efficient. Your energy flow isn't as uh, uh, um, as optimal as it can be. So you have all these little rocks in between, or all these little wedges in between, and the karma creates separation or division between you and the higher self. So for those of you who are new to my channel, the higher self, I will use the word higher self and universe interchangeably, just because I'm really just referring to the greater picture, to this higher perspective. But for those of you who are new to my channel, the higher self is a higher aspect of who we are that has the greater picture, that is able to oversee our journey, and that is always nudging us to make changes in our lives, to release control, to learn lessons. And if we grip onto our stubbornness, if we grip onto our control, then the karma within us, the gunk within us, never clears. And so a lot of times we can die, and I'm not saying this to pump you full of fear, but a lot of times we can die with karma because we didn't want to face our karma. We didn't want uh, to attend to our deeper traumas and to our issues that we knew we had. And we kept sweeping it under the rug, sweeping it under the rug, and living with it, but never looking at it, always turning a blind eye to it. And when we neglect our karma or we ignore our karma, a lot of times we will die because this is a school where we learn how to clear our karma, where we learn how to come into our dharma, meaning fulfilling our destiny, which is to break free, to liberate your soul. This is all about soul liberation. It's all about soul liberation. And I've had many lifetimes where I've died with karma, and I came back because we're constantly learning. And if we can't learn in this school called planet Earth, then we may not be ready for the graduation into the next school. So, again, I'm not saying that you will ever be criticized, reprimanded, condemned for not clearing your karma, but we are here not only to have fun, not only to taste the rainbow of life, but we are very much here to heal and clear our karma. And again, think of your karma as unfinished business. Think of it as the leftovers, the stuff that is very daunting to confront, but it only takes a split decision or a moment to decide I'm ready to clear this karma. I'm going to boldly, courageously step outside of my comfort zone and release my identity, meaning our identity can get wrapped up in our body. That was me. Your identity could get wrapped up in your body, and you get all this adoration and this ego gratification and people giving you a pat on the back. And the more that people give you that gratification from the outside world, the more you start to build attachments. And so your attachments in life are directly correlated to your karma. So a lot of us fall into the trap, into the booby trap of this material world, where the outer world doesn't really know who you are inside. The outer world, the people around you don't really know what you're healing or what you need to heal. So if you look good, they're like, you look great. But oftentimes you have body dysmorphia, or oftentimes you struggle with insecurity, and everyone around you is like a yes man. Yes, you look great. Yes, you look great. And everyone's always worshiping the ground that we walk on. And a lot of times that can keep our karma alive because we start to get sucked into or absorbed into the physical, the exterior world that keeps giving us credit or that keeps giving us a pat on the back. And then we never have to actually tend to our karma because in our minds we start to justify, well, that person thinks I'm hot or that person thinks I'm amazing, so I actually don't really need to address my karma. I can keep living, putting on a facade and putting on this mask. Thank you, Nikki, for that donation. Thank you, Louis. Yes. And by the way, this doesn't always just come from people. It can be that you start to freak out when you don't have money in your account. That means that your identity has been rolled up in money. And when you don't have that money, your identity is then threatened. And you start to see your whole world fall apart because you overly identified with money. This can also happen in friendships. You start to have too many attachments to friends It spills over into codependency. And when they don't call you, your identity is threatened. This is all karma. All karma. Okay, so now I want to talk about 2022 and how it's coming in hot. 2022, the universe is holding up a mirror to us because it sees an opportunity for us to upgrade ourselves. It's almost like a friend. If you never listen to your friends, if you're hot headed, if you're stubborn, but all of a sudden you have this window, it's almost like the window cracks open and you're receptive to their advice. And you're finally opening up your heart to listen to your friends who see that there's something wrong with you, who see that there's something imbalanced in you. Think of the universe or the higher self as a friend that has finally grabbed a hold of your attention and is like, hey, you need to listen to me now. And a lot of times in life, we're stubborn. So we can go years not hearing the higher self, years not listening to the universe because we're so stuck in our ways. It's happened to the best of us. You make some leeway, you heal yourself a little bit, and then all of a sudden you forget about the healing, you shelve it, you put it on a shelf. 2 years go by, and the whole time you didn't hear the higher self or the universe that was trying to get you to continue your path towards healing, your path towards wholeness. So in 2022, the higher self, the universe is holding up a mirror to us and it is saying, you're going to have to face yourself now. So in the past, we would we would do a little bit of work on ourselves and then we're like, that's good for now. Now I'm going to get back to my life. And then we would do a little more work a few months later and go, that's good for now. I'm going to grow of my own accord, meaning I'm going to grow in my own controlled way. I'm going to expand myself under my own terms and conditions. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to grow, but I'm going to have my growth happen the way that I see my growth happening, which is still a control mechanism. So in 2022, we're being asked to step into growing by releasing control altogether, not controlling how we grow. Do you see the difference? We're not controlling how we grow. I'm going to grow, but I'm going to stay in my box of doing my routine, and I'm going to grow through that routine. And then later, I'm going to grow through another routine and another routine. Nothing wrong with that, but there's still a degree of control that we have because we're trying to do it our way. We're still trying to control the storyline. And 2022 is all about, can you grow outside of your comfort zone? Can you grow by releasing your identity of who you think you are? Can you be okay in your own body? Can you be comfortable in your own skin if everything is taken away from you and you don't have access to your routine and you don't have access to your different habits that you've developed along the way? Can you really be at peace then? Because true growth happens by surrendering our control. It doesn't happen by saying, I'm going to grow my way within these four walls, and I'll push these walls when I'm comfortable. And then I'll push them some more when I'm more comfortable. So, in other words, you're growing through a controlled environment. It is still, and I'm not saying this is easy. I'm going through a lot myself right now because the COVID has completely altered me. It has completely changed me from the inside out. I am not the same person anymore. And it's very surreal. And I'm going through my own internal shifts, my own internal holy shifts. And it's a lot. It's a lot to process. From another perspective, it's not a lot to process. From another perspective, when you know, you know. And when you know, you just go for it. You just go for it. But we're still in this human body and we're on this journey. And sometimes we have to process all of this information. We have to think about who we're going to become. We have to think about who we're releasing. We have to think about what it's going to look like. So there's a lot of processing going on. Does that help you guys? So 2022, the higher self is going to apply. This is what it's going to feel like. The higher self or the universe is going to apply a lot of pressure on you. And this pressure to look at yourself, this pressure to finally say, there are things I know that I've needed to heal. There are things that I know I've been controlling, but I've been putting it off. And now the universe is saying, we are going to not leave you alone because we finally have your attention. And we are your friend. We are your family. Your higher self is your best friend. It is just you. It's a higher version of you that wants the best for you, that wants you to move into the highest version of who you are so that you can have an exceptional life. So the higher self, a year ago or even a few months ago, we still had wiggle room. We still had time to kill. We could address a lesson here and there and then put it back on the shelf. And now all of that is being pushed to the surface to be seen. And it's going to feel like you're being pressurized, not in a good way. I at first thought it was like some sort of a demon putting pressure on me to change, putting pressure on me to release certain things. And the more I sat with it, the more I realized, because I'm listening, because my body is weak, the volume of my higher self is louder than ever. And my higher self is saying, I need you to listen now. Because when you have energy, you don't always listen to me. When you have energy, you're on top of the world. When you have energy, you think you're untouchable. So you're actually not relinquishing your old ways. So a lot of times when we get sick in life, or when we feel weak, or we've gone through a breakup and we're grieving, we don't have energy. So the higher self, which is a much more dominant, a much higher energy, will swoop in and say, now that I have your attention, you are going to listen. And it's not going to feel good. It's going to feel like there's pressure being applied to you. And you're going to say, this is not love. But the truth is, if your higher self's full-time job is to get you to save your soul, and it finally has your attention, why wouldn't it push you? Why? Pushing sounds negative, but I mean positively pushing you. Why wouldn't it spur you? Why wouldn't it encourage you to transform? If we're so stubborn as humans and we're always blocking out the light, we're always blocking out this intelligence, and then we have a moment where our window opens or our door cracks open, the light is going to shine in and say, it's now or never. It's you have to shit or get off the pot, because these are things that you've known you've had to tackle. These are things that you've known you've had to address, and you put it off and you put it off, and 5 years went by and 6 years went by and 7 years went by. See, a lot of us, myself included, we're really good at doing some of the legwork, at healing some of the karma. But how often do we go all the way with it? How often do we truly drop the sword and say, I am done fighting life. I am done fighting my own demons. I am done holding on to this control. I'm ready to flourish. I'm ready to blossom into the highest version of who I am. And I think the reason why it's so challenging for us to do that sometimes, you guys, is because we're surrounded by humans who are living in fear. We are surrounded by a society that has so much shame that they would never talk about this stuff openly. So if everyone is walking around with fear, a lot of times we have this subconscious reaction where we're still going to fight life. We're still going to be in survival mode. So why would we change? The world is too hard. We have to be soldiered up. We have to be armored up. But we're being asked right now to drop the sword. We're being asked to not depend on the gym to feel strong, not depend on jogging to release stress, not depend on any of that to feel like a soldier, but rather solely depend on our soul. Because if we're depending on these things outside of us to feel strong, to feel like we can take on the world, then we're still pulling from the external world. We're still generating energy through habits and through routines, which is still a reaction. It's still a wrestling with the world. But if we're able to generate energy through freedom, through not being defined by anything outside of us, then we truly become these spiritual beings encased in these human bodies. We become these spiritual beings. We're not the ego who lets in a little bit of the spirit sometimes. Hear me out. I'm going to repeat that. We're no longer the ego or the personality or the identity that lets in spirit when we feel like it, right? We become spirit in the body. We become spirit in the body. We're not blocking spirit as the ego. We become spirit in the body. You see? One second. So, am I talking too much, or are you guys kind of getting it? All right. This is something else that I wanted to share with you that blew my mind yesterday. That blew my mind. Our karma, i.e., the thing standing between you and your highest version, also associated with your control. Karma, control, same thing. Our karma is, how can I say this? Our karma creates a time lag with instant manifestation. So in other words, our karma causes every manifestation to be delayed. And I'm going to share the epiphany I had yesterday. This is the main epiphany I had that drove me to do this live tonight. Imagine you wake up one morning and all you want to do is have a nice cup of tea, a nice cup of coffee, maybe visit with a friend, and just do exactly what you want to do. That would be utter freedom, meaning you're not Velcroed, as my friend Lori says, you're not Velcroed to anything. You are not tethered to anything. And a lot of us, what we do, I do this too. What we do is we say, before I can get to the coffee, or before I can meet up with my friend, or before I can go for a nice walk and get some fresh air, I need to do this, this, and that. I really want you to follow me here. So in the highest, most ideal version of reality, if we were 100% karma free, we would be free. So when we wake up in the morning, we would say, what do I feel like doing today? You wouldn't be thinking about any routine or anything you're trying to control in order to feel strong, because freedom is ultimate strength. So I'm going to use this example. You wake up, you wish you could have a nice cup of tea or a coffee with a friend. You wish you could maybe just go to the park and breathe in some fresh air. But your mind, your ego tells you, before we can do that, we'll just do that at 2 p.m. We won't do it at 9 a.m. We're going to delay it to 2 p.m. because first we have to work out. First, we have to go for a jog. First, we have to pay bills. First, we have to work. And then we will have this reward system to then go out with our friend. I want you to think about how that very morning, there is a part of you that is saying, give me my manifestation. Give me my manifestation. Give me my cup of tea and my friend now. And you know what we do? We say, no, you're not worthy of that manifestation right now. You can't have that right now because first I need to go do this. And then we wonder why we're not able to manifest on command. We wonder why the universe isn't providing us with everything that we desire here and now. But the reason why that's happening is because the universe is going to treat you the way that you treat yourself. The universe is going to treat you the way that you treat your inner child. Your inner child that morning wanted the cup of tea. Your inner child wanted to go swing at the park. Your inner child wanted to spend time with a friend, quality time with a friend. And what you said was no. When you had a chance to give it that instantaneous manifestation, and you bypassed an opportunity to do so because your routine had you enslaved. Your routine had you enslaved. It is karma. And that karma stood in the way of instantaneous manifestation. And if you were to just give that inner child what it wants, the universe, it's like a Russian doll. The universe is the bigger Russian doll. You're the smaller Russian doll, and your inner child is the even smaller Russian doll. It's all the same. As above, so below. As within, so without. Micro to the macro. The universe would say, oh my God, I want to give the smaller Russian doll what it wants now because the smaller Russian doll gave the even smaller Russian doll what it wanted now. But we are treated the way that we treat ourselves. We are treated the way that we treat others. It's all about vibrational reciprocity. If you want to be treated a certain way by the universe, you have to start treating yourself that way. And that's not going to be easy. If I told you what I've been going through the last few days, it's only been 2-3 days. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than me. My higher self is asking me to let go of every single routine I've had. And I don't want to say that I'm going to do it because I'm still processing, but the ego doesn't like it. The ego says, but I'm going to look different, but I'm not going to be sexy anymore. All these identities that we have, all these identities that have served us, that the external world gave you praise for, and it's all a facade. It's all artificial. All of it. All of it is artificial. And it keeps you in bondage to this physical, carnal world. It doesn't liberate your soul. So I haven't made the jump yet, but this was definitely a divine intervention. It was a divine intervention. A lot of things look good on paper. A lot of things look good when you see them from the outside looking in. But is the soul free or is the soul encaged? And I want to say something else to you guys. It doesn't matter. I have a lot of people in my life because I've done a lot of healing work on myself over the years. A lot of people in my life have said to me, I admire how adaptable you are. I admire how flexible you are. You were sick with COVID for 2 weeks and not once did you moan. Not once did you complain. You just surrendered. But you know what I tell those people? I say to them, I understand that you think I'm free, but I still have my struggles. And even though to you I might appear free, it may be because you're 60% not free, and maybe I'm 20% not free, right? So if someone is still controlling 20% of their life, and you compare that to someone who's controlling 60% of their life, that person who's controlling 60% of the life is going to think that you're free. But are you really? Because any percentage of control means that you're not free yet. It doesn't matter if it's 5%, 10%, 25%, 70%. Karma is karma. And we are not free until it is fully cleared. None of us are free until it is fully cleared. Again, the person with 70% control might think that you are free if you have 10% control. But only you can know, I don't know, I'm not free yet. I still struggle, right? And look, the universe is not in a hurry. So I want to emphasize that. So 2022, the universe isn't in a hurry, but there is going to be an element of pressure because most of us don't like to listen. So if the universe grabs hold of your attention, it is going to shake you. So you are going to feel some pressure, even though in the grander scheme of things, the universe is not in a hurry. There's a certain pressure being applied right now. Because a lot of times, something is revealed to us. Oh, I think I need to change this. And then we close the lid and we forget about it for months. Sometimes we forget about it for years because we're so good at being stubborn. We are so good at being in denial. We are so good at avoiding what it is that needs to be addressed. But if the universe is able to get through to you right now, you're going to feel like there's pressure. But it's not pressure to hurt you. It's pressure to save you. It is pressure to save your soul. Again, if you had a friend that had a problem with alcohol and they never listened to anyone, and all of a sudden they had a week of feeling open and they were receptive to your advice, you would probably flood them with love, flood them with light, flood them with possibility of who they can become, wouldn't you? Because you love them and you want them to live a life where they're not shackled to anything, where they're not addicted to anything. Is this helping you guys? Is this helping? So I want to say to you today that, tonight, I should say, that every time you are controlling your day, every time you need to do something before you can do the next thing, that is control, that is going to rob you from the whole experience that you could have had. I'm going to repeat that. Everything that you control in your life, and please don't judge yourself if you do. We're all in this together. This is not easy. This stuff is not easy to tackle. Most of us heal bit by bit by bit because it's scary, because most humans around us are walking drenched in fear. It is normal to take our time with healing because what we do is we say, I'm going to dip my finger in that pie. It's warm. Okay, I might do a little more healing. And then all of a sudden something happens to you and you're like, oh my God, no, I'm going to dip out. I'm not ready to go there. I'm not ready. So we make these strides or we reach these milestones, but then we back up. I've done that my whole life. I heal a little bit, Then I have a flare up and I go back to my old ways. It's regressive. So you make progress and then you get scared and you go back. You make progress, scared, go back. So every time you're trying to control something, you're going to rob yourself of the whole experience that you were intended to have that day. You were intended to have a whole experience. Why am I saying it's a whole experience? Because it's an experience linked to your wholeness. You are robbing yourself of a whole experience, meaning an experience linked to your wholeness, not to your partialness, not to the part of you that you're trying to control that blocks out the spirit. Every time you control, you block out spirit. I'm talking about an experience linked to your wholeness, which is linked to freedom, which is linked to soul liberation, no longer being handcuffed to anything and delaying your joy. What we're all trying to manifest is joy. It's not the car, it's not the apartment, it's not the house, it's not the boyfriend, the girlfriend. What we're trying to manifest is joy, peace, harmony, bliss, freedom. When you're happy, you don't care who you're with. You're freaking jumping out of your skin. When you're in love with yourself, you appreciate everyone around you. It's not about what you're manifesting. It's about your feeling state, your state of being. It's about your state of being. So we keep delaying these manifestations through our control, through our survival mechanisms, through our thinking that we have to earn freedom, rather than recognizing that it's here and available for us now. So think about the things you do in your life where you're like, I'll get to that in a few hours, but right now I need to do this. And it's obligatory. What would you do if you were fully free? Would you write that song right now? Or would you say, but first I have to go do that? If you say that, then it means you're not giving yourself that song now. You're not giving that part of you the manifestation now, which would give it joy, which would give it creativity, which would give it freedom. And then we turn around and we wonder, why isn't the universe bringing me this? Why isn't the universe delivering my heart's desires? Because you're neglecting your inner child's desires. You're neglecting that part of you's desires. It's all the same thing. We will receive what we give. If we give a delay, we're going to receive a delay. You see? So that's my message tonight. It's 2022, you guys, is no joke. It is no joke. We don't have time anymore to think about whether or not we're going to release something. We don't have time to make these considerations. You're either going to shit or get off the pot. You're either going to choose freedom or choose to pretend that you're free, having all this universal wisdom, right? Because when you awaken, you can have all the wisdom in the world. It's like reading a book. You can read and know everything that's in the book. The question is, are you applying what's in the book? Are you embodying what's in the book? Is there an energy of freedom coming off of you? A warmth that people can feel? It's palpable. They feel you're free because you carry that energy. You're embodying that energy. You're not just someone who's accessing information. You are actually applying and integrating the information. So this is what it's all about in 2022. It's, are you going to keep being this very wise person who is able to access or tap into this information? Because you can do that. Psychics can tap into all information. But what happens if they're not addressing their own addictions? What happens if they're not releasing their own attachments? Then they're just ego bringing in information from spirit, which is still a service, by the way. So I don't want to discredit that approach because it's not easy to heal. It's not easy to be willing to clear our karma. But isn't the highest version of us spirit in human form? The highest version of us is spirit in human form. It's, I have access to all this information, but I'm not going to pretend. I'm going to walk my talk. I'm going to be willing to save my own soul. Otherwise, I'm going to die with this karma. And they're going to say, are you ready to go back and heal it and clear it because you didn't graduate? And I'm not saying that it's that harsh when we die, but if there are higher rules in other existences or in other dimensions, then what makes us think that we're ready for those higher rules or for those higher dimensions if we're not able to release our own karma in this dimension? We've given so much of our own authority. We've handed so much of our personal power to an external world that isn't able to see your insides. Ooh, ooh. We've given so much of our personal power to an external world that isn't able to see your insides. It doesn't know what's going on with you. You can look great and have body dysmorphia. And the people around you are going to cheer you on. Oh my God, you're so beautiful. Oh my God, you're so beautiful. And then you never heal your body dysmorphia, which is karma. I can go down the list with all the issues that I've had and all the issues that most humans have. But there's so much shame that we don't talk about this openly. Healing starts with us being open, with us talking about our struggles, with us talking about this uncomfortable stuff. That's how healing begins. So anyways, I love you guys. If you would like to support my work, I really appreciate you. My website is feelgoodlife.com/donate, feelgoodlife.com/donate. I really appreciate it. Just give me a few days to get back to you personally, but I always get back to people personally. I like to thank you with gratitude. So I love you guys so much. I hope this helped you about 2022. It's time to be bold. It's time to go big. It's time to be courageous. It's time to be fearless. It's time to do things that our ego doesn't like. It's time to do things that our ego doesn't like. But we're not going to play into the narrative that all these humans around us who are walking in fear are going to dictate our experience. Because if all the ascended masters, Jesus, Mary Magdalene, Saint Germain, if all of them were here with us now, they would say, let that go. We have bigger fish to fry. We have things to do. We've got shit to do. Let that go. If you want to be someone who's otherworldly, if you want to be someone who turns up the brightness in the room, you cannot conform to what most humans are doing because they're stuck in an inverted matrix. They're stuck in a prison of their own mind. And everyone around them is telling them they're doing a great job. Are they? Or are they afraid to relinquish their control? So I want you to, I'm going to leave that with you tonight. If Jesus was here right now, Yeshua, Magdalene, Saint Germain, all these beautiful ascended masters, and we were all together now, holding this highest frequency, would it be so difficult to let things go? Would it be so difficult to let things go? Or would it take a minute. It would take a minute because we would remember that we are otherworldly beings who came here to shift this world, who came here to impact this universe, to heal people around us just by being the example, by being free, by being free. It would be so easy if Jesus was here right now. But you know what? Jesus is here right now. Magdalene is here right now. Saint Germain is here right now. Archangel Michael is here right now. And they're asking us to stop comparing ourselves and our growth to other humans. They're saying, you're not a human. You are not of this world. You're something way bigger than that. And we're going to stop playing in all those storylines. We're going to stop comparing our growth to other people's growth. We are going to be liberated. So that's my message. I'll attach my link to my donations below. I love you guys so much, and I thank you for being here with me. Take care.